everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today is What's Up With That Wednesday, which is the start of a new series on my channel. And What's Up With That Wednesday is going to be miscellaneous videos, ranking palettes, Q&As, whatever doesn't really fit into either a tutorial or a review. So we're going to do a rank my palettes video, and today I'm doing all of my eyeshadow palettes. And I have 9 eyeshadow palettes, and that sounds like a really kind of small collection, especially for someone who is a beauty blogger, but I only started really heavily getting into makeup probably 6, 7, 8 months ago, less than a year. And I have an explanation of that in my Power of Makeup is Redemptive video, which I will link below. And so these are the palettes that I've collected in the last 9 or so months, 8 or 9, somewhere in that number. And these are my opinions on them. Obviously, I'm not affiliated with any of these brands. I have no, what is it called? I don't get paid to do any of this. I do it for my own, just my own kind of fun hobby. And I'm going to be giving you my honest opinion on these, and so we'll start with the first one. This is the Sephora Vintage Flare. We're gonna start from worst to last. This is in my last place. This is 9th place. And I bought this because I thought it was a very cute little palette, and it is, and the colors are very pretty, but my issue is that there's not a lot of pigmentation. So like if I take this color right here, Rustic, and I pick it up with my finger and then put this right here, it comes off as more of like a watered down brown than the true rust brown metallic that it is in the pan. And that seems pretty true of a lot of the colors in here. And by any means, it's not a horrible palette, but of all the palettes I have to work with, I don't reach for this almost ever. Next, in 8th place, and this is probably going to be a little controversial, is the Jeffree Star Beauty Killer palette. I have no interest in getting into the whole Kat Von D, Jeffree Star debate, so if you're watching this and you want to start that debate in my comments, please don't. So for me, this is just a commentary on my experience with the palette. And the palette itself, it's beautiful. I really like the packaging. I think that it looks really big. But here's my issue. If you look at how thin this is, I really don't think there's that much product in these pans. So while it looks huge, I'm not really sure how much is in it. And I should probably depot them and like really see how thick or thin they are. But it's just kind of disappointing when I got it and I saw how really thin it is. And then on top of that, I would say I can wear 3 colors out of this, and not because I don't like to wear neons. I do. I wear bright colors. I experiment with my makeup. That's not the issue. I would say most of these colors do not blend well. And that's just been my experience with them. I'm not saying that Jeffree Star put out a bad product. I'm not saying that his formulations are bad. I'm saying that my experience with the palette that I have, is that 7 out of the 10 colors don't blend very well. They don't stay on very well, and the ones that do blend well, like I think Black Rainbow blends well, but it's fallout everywhere. I've got glitter all over my face when I'm doing it, and then the glitter is on my cheeks instead of in my eye, and it kind of defeats the point of what the palette is supposed to do. So for me, this palette, it was $45, and for me, I should be able to use all 10 shades if I'm gonna pay $45 for a palette. Okay, so 7th place is my Naked Urban Decay Smoky palette. Now, I have no problems with the formulation on this. It blends like a dream. I mean, it's Urban Decay. We all know how good their eyeshadows are. But I personally think that most of these shadows, for someone who is my skin tone, who is this pale, are just way too dark, even if you're doing a smoky eye. Like, there's smoky eye, and then there's, oh, you have a black eye on your face. And so for me, I just don't think that it lends itself, because Okay, so you're gonna do a smoke in your crease, right? So you smoke out in your crease, and 9 times out of 10, you're gonna use a matte shade to do that. And there's only like 3 or 4 shades that are matte in here, and all of them are on the darker like spectrum, or they're like a transition shade. So it's like, I really don't want to buy a palette just to be able to use the transition shades, or I don't know, it just doesn't, to me, if it's gonna be a smoky palette, it really should work as a smoky eye palette. And for me, this does not do that because the colors are just way too dark. That's my opinion, and maybe other people share that opinion, since Ulta just put like the Urban Decay Smoky on like half price, so they're probably trying to get rid of product. That's just my conspiracy theory, but who knows. Okay, so the next is a palette that I got this Christmas. It is the Urban Decay Vice 4. This packaging is some of this beautiful packaging that I have in a palette. I think it is wonderful. And I think this palette is great for if you want the experimentation with colors that maybe you're seeking with brands like Jeffree Star or Sugar Pill, but you want to buy something a little bit more mainstream because you don't trust formulations from like smaller brands. Like, especially if you're just starting out with makeup, you're probably only going to trust brands that are like big and sold in Sephora because you know that there's quality testing that goes on, or at least that was my experience when I was starting out. Now I'm definitely more willing to branch out to other brands and try things and figure out things. But I think that Urban Decay has done a really good job with this palette with giving you so many color options. The reason why this is coming in 6th place is because there's too many damn metallics. Like, I love a metal, I love a shimmer, I love all of it. I love glitter. I'm glitter AF. It is what it is. But if I wanted to just throw this palette itself in my bag for a trip, I can't. There's not enough matte shades, there's not enough transition shades for me to take it on a trip and be like, this is the only one I need. And for how big it is, I mean, that's as big as my hand, and it's huge. So it just takes up so much room in a suitcase. To me, with as much room as it's gonna take up and as many shades as it offers, there needed to be more mattes to balance it out. But if that may not have been the goal of the Vice 4, Urban Decay has always been known for doing crazier palettes and crazier colors. So this is just my opinion on it, but for me, it just doesn't work as a day-to-day palette. It's a beautiful palette to have in your collection, but these palettes are really expensive, so you should be buying palettes that you can use on a day-to-day. Speaking of palettes that you can use on a day-to-day, now we're getting into like the palettes that like I had such a hard time figuring out, like 5 through number 1, because it's like, I love all of these. So I had really never had any experience with Morphe before I bought these palettes, but I saw them on, I want to say, Jaclyn Hill's Instagram or Twitter, something like that. And I was like, oh my God, those colors are so pretty and the price is so low, I want to try them. So I have the 35O and 35O matte and shimmer. So I have both of them. And I know that there have been people who are like, Morphe is not that great, da 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 da. For me, my experience with these palettes is they are just as high quality as 90% of the palettes that I own, and they are a fraction of the cost. And you're getting so many shades, so many. And I love that there are very few palettes that are all matte or all shimmer and they work. And for me, since you have both, like you have all of them, you have so many options, you can create endless eye looks with just these 2 palettes. So if you're starting out in makeup and you really love that copper bronzy look, that's your go-to, I highly recommend these. The reason why I put these in 5th and 4th instead of higher is because they're so big. Like, they're bigger than my face. And so these are hard to travel with. If you're a college student living in a dorm and you don't have a lot of space, these are hard to like figure out where to put them. So that is really my only critique of them. And Morphe does offer smaller palettes, so that would be something worth looking into if you want to experiment with Morphe on like a smaller scale. But the palettes are what they are. If you have the space in your collection, then I highly recommend them. But if I was going to critique them, which is what my aim was with making this video, they are very big and they're clunky when you're putting them into a vanity, in my opinion. Okay, so next is actually the palette I most recently bought, and I have fallen in love with it. And it is the Graveyard Girl Swamp Queen palette from Tarte. Now I know that there has been some like critique of this palette because it's like, it's just normal colors, it's not crazy. Bunny, why didn't you do crazy colors? Have y'all looked at Bunny? She is one of the prettiest. Like, she doesn't wear like super amounts of makeup all the time. She's very au naturel, I guess would be the way to put it. And so I was not necessarily surprised that these were the colors that were in the palette. What did surprise me, one bad and one good. One, it smells like straight up honey, chocolate, vanilla, something super sweet, and it's amazing. And I love scented stuff, so I love that. What was not so great is that this palette is Fallout City. There's just, I mean, and it's only a few shades, I will say that, but the shades that do have Fallout, it's everywhere. Gator Wings, which is the highlighter, it gets everywhere. It's a very chunky highlighter, which is, I don't use it as a highlighter. I tend to be very careful with it, pick it up and put it in my inner corner. And Sippy Sippy has a lot of Fallout, Man Cat, Dog Man, but the reason why I put it in third is because I just love the colors and the formulation and the blending so much that I'm willing to tap my brush off a few extra times in order to use this palette. That's just my opinion. I think it's Tarte. Tarte does great eyeshadow. The formulation's pretty, the colors are beautiful, and for me, I can live off this palette for a week on vacation. I can throw it in my bag, it's small, and I have enough looks in here that I can live off of it on vacation if I need to. So that was a big factor for me. All right, so now we have the first ever expensive palette that I bought for myself once I got into makeup. The Naked 3 palette. I got this sometime in the last 8 months, but it was the first one. I don't remember the exact date. And as you can see on a couple of these shades, I have hit pan. I love this palette. There are just enough mattes for transition, and all of the mattes that I use for transition shades, I can match with 3 or 4 different colors in here. I can get a rose gold look, I can get a gold look, I can get a brown copper look, I can get a really dark pink black look if I use the black heart. I can get so many different colors, and it's Urban Decay, and Urban Decay's formulation is just second to none. I think it's just beautiful, and I just really, really love this palette. It's again one of those palettes that I can throw in my bag and live off of for a week, and unlike the Graveyard Girl palette, there's not fallout. I have experienced very, very minimal fallout with this palette, and I think it's just gorgeous. Now my number one palette, as of right now, August 2nd, 2016, is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Romance palette. Now, why did this beat out every other palette? One, formulation, absolutely beautiful. It blends like a dream. Second, these colors are different. If I opened up all of my palettes and put them next to each other, this palette, I don't have anything like it. Like, it's not just naturals. There's straight up orange, and there's a fuchsia and a dark red and a even darker red, and then there's 2 different shimmers, and there's a mauve color. There's so many colors that work together but look so different that you can do so many incredibly different looks with. So I think that this palette is amazing. And then on top of that, the blendability and the formulation combined with the colors, combined with the fact that if you look at how deep this is, you're getting a pretty damn decent pan size. Like, you're getting a pretty good pan size, and then you get it all for like $40, $45, something like that. I mean, if I'm comparing that I paid the same price for this and then the same price for this, I would pay for this 10 times over before I would pay for this again. So for me, this is the palette that I've been reaching for the most lately. It's the palette that makes me feel like I can wear this in the summer because of all the light colors. I can wear this in the fall because of all the really rich purple colors. I can wear it in the winter because of all the browns that I can mix with everything. And I think that it's just going to be a palette that's going to become a staple in my collection. And I think that Anastasia Beverly Hills just really got it right with this palette. So this is my number one of the moment. And that is it for what's up with that Wednesday with me ranking my palettes. So if you want to see something like this, me ranking lipsticks that I have or anything else in my collection, Q&As, what have you, just anything like that, let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, please like it and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.